How's it going, guys? My name is Zach with the Movie Castle, and today we're going to be doing something a little bit different. We're going to be talking about Friday the 13th fan films. I covered a few fan films a bit ago after I watched parts 1 through 4, and now that I just finished parts 5 through 8, I thought, hey, let's talk a bit about a few more of these. I'm going to be talking about 3 of them, and these 3 are, at the moment, all on YouTube, so if anything I say sounds interesting, just search up the title and you should be able to find it. But a quick thing with the Friday the 13th fan films, I'm sure a lot of you guys already know this, Friday the 13th had a bit of legal trouble. You see, 2 of the original creators have been fighting over the series' rights, and in turn the series has been stuck in limbo for a little bit. I believe the last film was it 2009 with the reboot? So it's been about 13 years since we last had a Friday the 13th film officially. And I do want to say, having this gap, the fans have really stepped in to fill the gap. You know, bunch of people are coming in with a bunch of creative new ideas, and where Hollywood can't make a new film, the fans can, and in turn, I think Friday the 13th has had a lot more fan films than a lot of other series. It might be one of the most fan-filmed series out there, and it's also really cool because, you know, with Friday the 13th, you don't need a spaceship or crazy special effects. It's got a really good entry point for young filmmakers. You know, go out to the woods with your friends and film a Friday the 13th movie. You can get creative and you can get higher budget if you want to, but it really is a good entry point for new filmmakers too. So it's just really nice to see a bunch of people, younger filmmakers, bigger filmmakers, lower budget, higher budget. So many people have stepped in, and I found it really cool that you can go online and just look up dozens of these things, and today we're going to be talking about 3 of them. One is a pretty big newer one that I thought was really cool, but for the other 2 I wanted to talk about kind of smaller, low budget ones. I don't know, it's just what I was in the mood for this time around. But some really cool, honest to goodness fan films here, and we're going to be talking about, first off, Voorhees, Night of the Beast. This is directed by Jason Pitts and stars Alvy Disney, Will Reed, and C.J. Bernard. And this one I think just came out a little bit ago and is actually Jason versus Bigfoot, which is something I didn't know I wanted. But Jason versus Bigfoot, as soon as I heard that, I'm like, this has got to be one of the ones that I check out. I just instantly wanted to see that fight. Maybe it's my immature side, but that just sounded awesome, and it really was. The plot in this one, you get one of the kids from part 6. You know, there were 2 kids, and they were like, where dead meat, and what did you want to be when you grew up? So some really cool characters, and one of them is grown up. This actually takes place between Jason Takes Manhattan and Jason Goes to Hell. So he's grown up now, and his girlfriend notices he's having night terrors, terrible nightmares about the events of part 6, and since they have an 1-year anniversary coming up, she decides to secretly take him back to Crystal Lake and get him to face his fears. Of course, doing this without his knowledge is not necessarily a great idea, and he's going to be very upset to be drugged back to Crystal Lake. But on top of all this, there are some Bigfoot hunters, and they're going to the nearby woods, and one of them is actually a younger Creighton Duke. He was the Jason hunter from Jason Goes to Hell, and I always thought he was a good character, but, you know, a little bit underdeveloped, you know, having this Jason hunter all of a sudden come out of nowhere. But here, we get his backstory, we get his origin story, we get to find out why he hates Jason so much, And honestly, I think this fan film is going to make me want to watch Jason Goes to Hell again. This fan film will probably make me like that movie even more. But yeah, an origin story for him. That's really great. Anyway, the Bigfoot hunters wound Bigfoot, but don't kill him, and he's inadvertently found by the kids at Camp Crystal Lake. The guy's girlfriend is a veterinarian and feels the need to help Bigfoot out. However, taking him back to the cabin, it inadvertently puts Bigfoot next to Crystal Lake, and Bigfoot and Jason can't help but sense each other, and they're going to go and fight. And there's a few really cool things with this fan film. One, a ton of great kills, not just from Jason, but also Bigfoot killing people. Double the kills, right? Also, it's 1 hour long, so a longer fan film, and they really do a ton of crazy stuff in this time. But also a bunch of Easter eggs and references to other parts in the series. There's a newspaper where they're talking about Springwood, Freddy Krueger, hinting the upcoming Freddy vs. Jason movie, upcoming in point of timeline for the series. But there's also, a flashback to younger Pamela Voorhees reading from the Necronomicon, which was also in Jason Goes to Hell as well. So I did setting things up, and a few cool Easter eggs and references. One of the villagers is the cousin of Crazy Ralph from parts 1 and 2. And also, we get to see this scene with these cops, and they're talking about what's going on, and you realize that the general public doesn't really know what exactly happened in a lot of the Friday the 13th movies. A lot of it is legend, a lot of it is rumor. They know Pamela Voorhees definitely happened, but how much of Jason was real? And you get one of the cops talking about the copycat killer from Part 5, and he had a theory that after Part 5, every single incident was another copycat, because surely Jason can't come back from the dead, right? So I did like, the idea of what was the Friday franchise like from the point of view of the people who lived nearby but weren't involved, What does the town of Crystal Lake think? But on top of all that, the Jason versus Bigfoot fight, it's just really cool, it's the last section of the movie. Jason and Bigfoot finally go after each other, and I always like when Jason has someone bigger to fight. Usually he's picking off counselors, and then the last one will be a bit of a challenge and maybe get away. But Part 7, when he fought someone who was essentially Carrie, that was a cool, bigger fight, and this is kind of in the vein of that, where Jason actually has a challenge. They really try to challenge Jason. Like, he fights one of the Bigfoot hunters earlier on, and that's a harder enemy for him to get through. But when he actually gets to Bigfoot, that's a brawl right there. And it's one of those things, like the Bigfoot costume is a little bit cheesy, but ultimately I don't care. And it's, maybe my immature brain, but I was glued to the TV screen watching Jason Voorhees fight Bigfoot in this big epic battle where you can tell they're pretty evenly matched. And it really is just awesome. And it's a stupid idea. I get that. But I still loved it, So I really did like this fan film. On top of everything, Jason is also dressed in his Part 7 getup, which is my favorite costume, and he also has his yellow gloves from Part 6, which I thought was pretty cool as well. So a really cool Friday the 13th fan film. Definitely recommend Voorhees, Night of the Beast. After that, we have another one that I think just came out a fair bit ago as well, not too long ago. Jason Unleashed, directed by Brian J. Madison, and stars Dominic Matthews, Brody Madison, and Brian J. Madison. This is about a father and son that go on a camping trip, and the father tells the legend of Jason Voorhees to his son, and we see that Jason has become kind of this campfire story. Well, even though the father doesn't believe in Jason, the son's creeped out, and when he hears something in the middle of the night, insists that his father check it out. His father's killed by Jason, and Jason comes after the young kid, but it cuts away and we don't see what happened to him. We then later jump forward in time, and the dad's brother, the uncle, is going and looking for his missing family. And of course he gets warnings and he has to explore for a while, and he's going to eventually come across Jason as well. But there's a really fun twist at the end of this one, and this is definitely why I'm recommending it. You know, it's one of those lower budget, kind of cheesy Friday fan films, but it gets to the end and I'm like, okay, that's a really fun visual, that's a really fun idea, and it's one of those that I just absolutely love, the really unique idea that it has at the end. A few other things with this one. This is, I want to say a Scottish fan film. I'm not the best with accents, but yeah, they're all Scottish here, and it gets really kind of fun when you get like the angry guy with the axe, the lumberjack guy warning him to stay away, and he's yelling at him with his thick accent, you know? And I'm like, hey, you know, don't let that be a barrier to you. This is your fan film, you can do whatever you want. Why not in this fan film? Crystal Lake is in Scotland. Why not? But that was fun to see as well. The Jason design in this one also features Jason with long strands of hair, which I'm kind of curious if people will love that or hate that. But another really strong point with this movie is note the last names. Director and actor Brian J. Madison, and then the kid is Brody Madison. I'm thinking the father and son in this movie were probably a real-life father and son, so fun to see that dynamic, that idea that you're going out with your son and filming a Friday the 13th fan film. That's pretty cool. Also, Brian J. Madison, who plays the dad, also does a double role as Jason, so, you know, director getting to play Jason. Overall, not the biggest and best thing ever, but I like the ending, I like the father-son dynamic, and hey, it's even, I think, like I said, I think Scotland, the Scottish forest got some cool winding trees, and you also get to see some cool abandoned buildings, so cool set in this one as well. Overall, I felt this was pretty charming, and I definitely would recommend it. And then the last one, Just Another Friday. This is directed by Cameron Sargent and Jackson Bartholomew, and it stars Cameron Sargent as Jason, so another case of the director himself playing Jason. We also got Alyssa Kristen and Nick Passamont. In this one, Jason kills some two kids that wander into the forest, and it appears that these two wandering into his territory have stirred him up again, and he's going to go on a killing spree. The kids' friends are upset by the deaths, and they decide to secretly rent out Camp Crystal Lake during the off-season. They, like, pay one of the counselors, the only guy there guarding it, a bunch of money to secretly use the facilities. And they're relaxing when they notice that one of their other friends has showed up, one of the friends that was supposed to go on the trip with the other two and didn't, and they've heard the legend of Jason. Again, a lot of people don't believe it, and he's, yeah, again, become kind of a legend, a campfire tale, and they think he's some sort of supernatural being, which he might be, but the one friend that was supposed to go definitely does believe it, and has sort of, once again, become a Jason Hunter figure. So he's out there hunting. They don't know if he's crazy or if he's really onto something, but they're going to go and party in the new Camp Crystal Lake, which I think to film in, they got like a church camp or something. And so kind of a funny idea that Crystal Lake would turn into a church camp, but full of big buildings. It's a really wide set for them to explore, and they do some cool gags, you know, with like the security cameras and stuff, and, you know, trying to spot Jason on them. And this, yeah, it's a lower budget fan film, but one thing that really caught my attention, you know, when you do Friday the 13th movies, and a lot of slasher movies in general, people make fun of how the teens are actually like 30-year-olds and stuff. I think in this one, a lot of the people that made it are actually high school seniors. You know, a lot of these kids look pretty young, and, you know, to see youth go out there and make their own Friday the 13th fan film, that's pretty good and inspiring. And yeah, there are some cheesy moments. The zombie mask that Jason has, sometimes you can see a bit of the edge of it, and like the Friday the 13th camp counselor shirt, you can actually, there's a scene where you can see the neck, and you can see just a little bit of the Friday the 13th logo. So yeah, there are some cheesy moments, but there's definitely a ton of passion here, and that's always really fun, you know, doing little things like sticking Jason in the background, and you might not even notice him, but all of a sudden you're like, wait, how long has Jason been back there? And some pretty good choreographed kills and choreographed fight scenes, especially when you get to the end and it gets down to the last couple of them, really trying to put up a fight. And a really interesting note to end on, which I thought the decision the final girl has to make in this movie was pretty interesting as well, and it ends on this different note. Now, it's called Just Another Friday, and I feel like, you know, maybe by doing that they were trying to say, you know, that they were sticking to formula, and you definitely do see that the formula works, you know. It's low budget, younger people are making it, it's 40 minutes long, but I never really felt the runtime, you know, so this is a really good classic example of what a fan film usually is, you know. Young people with not much money but a lot of passion behind it. You know, we get crazy giant fan films all the time, but this is a good example of a smaller fan film, and I really did like it. Another thing here, if you look at the credits, they credit where they got all the music, and there's stuff like the original Friday the 13th and Friday the 13th the game, but since this is a fan film and they're not making any money out of it anyway, they were free to just kind of sample music from a bunch of different places. Trick or Treat, It, Get Out, Child's Play, Nightmare on Elm Street. Lots of classic music is sampled and repurposed here, and I think if you're a big music nerd, it may be kind of interesting to find all the pieces and where they came from. Another interesting idea there. Overall, yeah, not the biggest thing ever, but a really good classic example of what a fan film is, and I don't know, I liked it. Again, I felt it charming in that low-budget way. So overall, Voorhees, Night of the Beast, Jason vs. Bigfoot, good, definitely go check it out. Jason Unleashed, a guy looking for his nephew in the middle of the woods, and also Scottish, a fun, lower-budget thing. And Just Another Friday, a bunch of kids with passion, and Jason is tearing through this church camp. Yeah, some cool moments in all of these as well. I definitely did like them. I'm not sure when I'll do more Friday the 13th fan films, but they're always something fun to talk about, and I definitely would, you know, like to hear recommendations. If you guys found anything you like, oh, you gotta check this out or that out, I might keep it in mind for next time. Anyway, to everyone who's watched so far, thank you for watching. To everyone who's liked and subscribed, thank you. You really are helping the channel out. I'll put a relevant playlist on the bottom. This should be my Friday the 13th playlist, where you can see me talk about the first 8 movies so far. I'll add to that eventually. But also the first fan film review, as well as I covered Never Hike Alone, but that was a really old movie Castle video. But anyway, if you want to see me talk about more Friday, a playlist should pop up here. Anyway, have a good day. I'll see you guys again very, very soon. Relevant playlist on the bottom. Have a good day now.